Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we've got a bit of a special for you guys. We have Tbull all the way from the PS4 bringing us a replay in the Tier 7 British battleship, the Vanguard. So, and I totally did not just space out on what it actually was, even though it's in the bottom left hand corner and all I could have done was read it and, you know, totally didn't do that. Anyway, have a little faith, guys. I surely wouldn't forget the Vanguard. Anyway, Tbull, great guy, okay? If you guys want to check out a good player, as in a great player, as in a player that is hands down better than I am with no questions asked, like straight up. The dude knows what he's doing. I am a casual player. Well, I say casual. I love competitive play online games. And you guys know Salty Spartan. But he gets a couple salvos off of high explosive, and you'll see he's got some broadside battleships, so he's going to go ahead and switch to armor piercing, which is something you don't see out of a lot of British battleships. Most of the time, British battleships stick with armor, with the high explosive the entire match. But when you've got broadside targets to shoot at, you're still going to penetrate and do a lot more damage with the armor piercing than you are with high explosive, so it makes more sense to use the... Hello, Magami! Oh, if you walk out there broadside onto a British battleship, you're not going to get over-penetrated, I promise. You're just going to get straight penetrated. It'll be citadels for days if he gets it. He marks the Akatsuki there, and he goes back to shoot at the Magami, but he's getting shot by the Amagi, which is a slightly harder target. Easier to hit, but harder to do massive damage to. But anyway, speaking more about Tbull, he's got some great tutorial vids out there for you guys if you guys want to check out his channel. He's just under 3,000 subscribers, so let's see if we can push him over the 3,000 mark in this short collab that we're doing here. Alright, I'm sure you guys are going to like it. You guys like World of Warships as much as I do, obviously. So definitely need to check him out. He's got some great videos out there with some great tips for guys, especially people starting out who may not know a lot of the basics. Great option here. With that being said, back to the fight. Now we're still firing armor piercing at this Amagi. It makes sense. You're going to get some good plunging fire down onto the deck and potentially get some good penetrations, and you're going to be able to get some good damage. He's looking at the Akatsuki, and even with the short fuses of the Vanguard, shooting destroyers with armor piercing is a mixed bag. Sometimes you get very good damage, like when I'm shooting my shooting at him with my Iowa. You don't really have a choice most of the time in a battleship because it's what you've got loaded. If you know what you're doing in a battleship, you're using armor piercing more often than you ever use high explosive, just because citadels are fun. But in a Vanguard, you're not really getting too many citadels unless it's a cruiser that's broadside on in front of you because of the short fuse. Now, that being said, we did get hit broadside yesterday in our stream from a Vanguard who decided to put a couple citadels on us and absolutely wreck our face for 2/3 of our health right off the bat in our Iowa. But it's an Iowa. Everything can citadel the broadside of an Iowa. So keep that in mind. That's why I don't go broadside very often. Well, at least I try not to when people are shooting back. Now, we have a wall of skill inbound. We have 2 battleships and a cruiser in the firing arc of these torpedoes. But at least 1 battleship and 1 cruiser are getting out of the way. The other guy seems content to sit there and test to see if they run out of range. But it was a Japanese destroyer, so the likelihood that he's out of range when he was detected is not likely. But we get some nice shots into the King George from range, and he's just doing a really good job of keeping the gun cycling. He's always trying to find the best possible target while he's reloading, and always seems to have his guns in the right place when he reloads to get good shots. Now, that Amagi just took a nasty hit. I don't know what hit him, but it was probably another Amagi or an Iowa that hit him. I mean, it could be anything with a 16-inch gun. Let's just put it that way. Could be anything with a 16-inch gun. Somebody got some nasty penetrations on him. Now, Tbull gets some good penetrations on him, but again, it's a British battleship. With these short fuses, you get penetrations, but you just don't get those nasty citadels. But you're getting 9,000 damage a salvo. You're not really hurting yourself by keeping them going. Why not? 9,000 damage might not seem like a lot in battleship days, but it does add up as we're already over 48,000 damage. Now the Colorado's reversing here, and I'm not sure exactly why, but he is reversing. Tbull notices, places the shot, and manages to score hits just under the front turrets and just in front of the superstructure of the ship around the waterline. Any other battleship, and that Colorado's probably at the bottom of the ocean right now. But this isn't any other battleship, this is the Vanguard. But what he's going to have to watch here is he is broadside on to multiple ships right now. And he's in a Vanguard. Now the Akatsuki is trying real hard to torpedo Tbull, and Tbull's just like, nah, I'm going to keep sailing away from your torps, man. Just keep failing. Go run away for another minute. But being broadside on to a Colorado is dangerous in any ship, let alone a Vanguard. Vanguards are very good, just like Iowa's, at getting citadeled. Mainly because most people tend to shoot towards the center of a ship. And that is the best place to citadel this ship. Like the Iowas, the Colorados, they tend to get citadeled the most through the front, just in front of the superstructure underneath the front turrets, as like the best place to hit Iowas and Colorados. Vanguards like to get hit midship, and it's just devastating when they get hit midship. It is. I've done it many a times to them. And for the Amagi that's over there, and any other Japanese battleship, if you want to score citadels on them, you want to hit towards the rear of the ship. That's where they have the most guns. It's the easiest place to citadel. And that Amagi is sticking just the rear of his ship out. Luckily for the Amagi, it's a British battleship. Otherwise, you know, 8,000 damage could have been 16,000 damage with a single penetration. But, again, you're still at 68,000 damage for the match. Keeping these guns cycling means something. Making the most of every single shot is something that a lot of people don't do well. Now here's the first part of this match where he's not shooting at something, and that's because everything's behind mountains, so it's hard. He's about to run aground, it looks like, as that island was not kind enough to get out of His Majesty's way. And there it is. Hello, island. How you doing? Don't mind me. I'm just going to give my guys some shore leave real quick, and shore leave's over. Time to get back into fighting. Hopefully you guys are ready, because things are about to get interesting. Now, you can see that the enemy have the... Actually, I always get that backwards. The friendlies have the advantage in points right now. Right? I think the friendly... No. I'm wrong. The bars, Spartan. Look at the bars. Yes. The enemies have a 500 to 300 lead right now. But with a couple of good salvos, some of these enemies can be sent to the locker. And those are huge point swings when it happens, especially considering the majority of ships left are battleships, which means they are worth the pretty penny. That Mogami that we talked to earlier, who ran away from us, is thinking about trying his luck. Now, we've already mentioned what happens to cruisers when they're broadside to British battleships. That short fuse does not allow British battleships to overpin cruisers, and he has not even waited for him to come out from behind the island. He's like, hello, sunshine! Pow! He gone. Little homage to Mr. Tbull there. I like it. I might just steal that one later. Not gonna lie. But a broadside cruiser to a British battleship is gonna be a paddler. You're not gonna get overpenetrated. The Vanguard takes a torpedo on his way in, and now we have a King George firing at us from the front. We take the Vanguard down, and that leaves two teammates to defend the cap. We have a teammate right behind us in a cruiser, and we have the King George in front of us. Now, it looks like he's turning to give a broadside to the King George. Maybe not really a broadside. He's angling. Just firing the front guns. He's angled pretty well. And he gets some nasty penetrations on the King George. It's just disgusting. The British one. Oh, those are not King George rounds, and that hurt. That was not Citadel's. He got very, very lucky that Colorado did not just Citadel him with the 6-inch or 16-inch guns. But now the King George is like, I'll give you the broadside to shoot at. Really, dude? That's your plan? Okay, this is a Tier 7 British battleship. I get it. But giving the broadside of a Tier 6 British battleship to a Tier 7, generally not going to be a good day. And as you can see, it has not worked out in his favor. Now, the cruiser is firing at him, so I would imagine he's going to be down, and sure enough, he is. That is a York behind him. 210mm guns, and he was firing armor-piercing at the broadside of that British battleship. And now we have an Aoba who has entered the battle, and he is broadside in a cruiser versus a British battleship. He gets a full salvo of armor-piercing, and he jams on the brakes, trolling both the cruiser and Tbull. Tbull not to be outdone. I'm sure he will not fall for the same trick twice. It gets the best of us, let's be real. We all get caught when somebody just decides to lock up the brakes and stop. But now he's got to get back up to speed again, and Tbull ain't having it. He's like, you know what? You fool me once, you're gone. Just gone. Out. Capiche. Kaput. All of them. Now you can see his cap is being taken. He goes ahead and he marks the cap so that his teammates know that the cap is being taken. So he's got the York behind him. He's got a Colorado that's low health, way out at the edge of his detection range. He's got an Amagi closing in on the cap. And he's got a destroyer, aka the Akatsuki, which a lot of people claim is the better Japanese destroyer. A lot of people don't like losing that third salvo of torps. I'm going to just say a lot of people are Bullvite. Bullvite does not like losing that third salvo. Having the flexibility to launch a third salvo is so key. And I've got a video for that next week, probably. I might post it this weekend if I can. But, yeah, having 3 sets of torpedoes. But this time, he launches them all in wide angles from 9 kilometers out, which means there's basically enough room to sail 3 or 4 battleships in between each one of those torpedoes. Yeah, definitely not your best move, but you're spotted, you freak out, you try to just throw your torps and run, but British battleship, short fuse, armor piercing, is it going to be enough? Looks good, and we get a hit, but just not enough. Not enough to finish him off. Now, the York has sent his torpedoes at the Amagi. The Akatsuki is still spotted. I'm not sure why he hasn't used the smoke at this point, but the Amagi gets rid of the Mogami, who launched the torps. I thought that the York was next to us, but the York must be still pushing after the Colorado. So we lose the Mogami, and that just leaves Tbull versus 2 of these guys at the cap. Now, he's got a broadside of an Amagi, and the Amagi is slowing down. It looks like he knows that there are torps en route, so he's going to slow down, avoid the torps, but he takes a nasty penetration, and Tbull doing a good job of making sure he can get the rear guns to bear as well, gets a couple more nice penetrations, bringing his total damage right now up to 174,000 damage, and he's about to be loaded again, and this Amagi probably not going to survive this one for sure. He gets both the front and the rear guns, and just not able to finish him off. Unfortunate, but it is the thing. So he's going to have to fire one more time at the Amagi to finish him off. He gets the rear gun all the way, and does finish him off, and that leaves him one-on-one versus the Akatsuki. Now, the Akatsuki's torpedoes are probably getting ready to come back. So he's going to have to be thinking about torps soon if he's unable to finish him off with this salvo, but that looks very good. And it is. And down he goes, giving him the Kraken with 100, and the torpedoes were back and already en route.
Torpedoes to port.
Luckily, Tbull able to avoid all of them, but there is only 45 seconds left. There's next to no chance that he gets this big ship turned around and in firing range and has a salvo land on that Colorado in time. And the enemies have the lead by just 5 points. That is terrible. Can the Nuremberg, or not the Nuremberg, can the York come through and sink the Colorado for us? He's got 17 seconds, and the Colorado's got an island between them. It doesn't look like it's going to be a thing, but the Colorado's coming around the island, maybe. Is he going to get a chance? He's got no health left, man. Just not enough, and this would be in range of the Iowa, just saying. But he finishes the game. Unfortunately, it's a loss. He loses by 5 points. Those guys getting into his cap, holding the points for just long enough, and giving his team the win. Unfortunately for Tbull, not quite able to pull it off there. 181,000 damage, 5 kills. He got the Confederate, he got the High Caliber, he got the Dreadnought, and a Kraken. What more can you ask from the man? So if you like what he's doing, head over to his channel. Subscribe if you enjoy tutorial videos and also the other gameplay that he shows. It's a good channel. You definitely need to check it out. Link is in the description and an annotation at the end. And as always, I will see you in the next video.